3, 2, 1. Georgie, welcome back. Beautiful, beautiful weekend of football.
Depends who you ask.
Match week 2, Premier League. Where do you want to start?
Doesn't really matter.
I think we should start with Chelsea and Tottenham because that was the big game over the weekend with all the controversy. I didn't watch the game. Coach Javi was on vacation. All right, I went to Niagara Falls, got a little family time in, but I did watch the highlights and I did see everything going down on Twitter and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So walk me through your thoughts on the game, Georgie.
Chelsea got robbed. 2 goals. For me, Spurs should never. Obviously, the first one was Kai Havertz got hurt, fouled. It wasn't called, so that should.
That wasn't the same play as the goal, right?
Yeah.
So they could have brought that one back.
Yeah, VAR looked at it and they decided not to.
That was a foul.
Yeah, I mean
Clear foul.
Yeah, so I don't know what went on there. And then my boy Cucurella got his hair pulled.
Georgie's doppelganger.
Yeah,
His twin.
and yeah, I mean,
But see, that one they only reviewed it for the red card, but they didn't review it for a foul because it wasn't a goal during that play. But the problem that everybody's upset about, if you're a Chelsea fan, is that it led to the goal, which was on the following play right after.
yeah, and I don't know. VAR needs to fix something, or they need to change. I don't know what they have to do, but something needs to change to where it's not. I mean, we talked about it, where it's not clear and obvious. Because clear and obvious to me could be something completely different.
It's a lot of gray area there.
Yeah, so the Havertz foul, Cucurella, that should have been. I mean, you could say that's a red card. Because why?
Yeah, that's what everybody said. It's a red card because it's not. I mean, he literally just pulled his hair down.
Yeah, it's not like you're pushing the guy away.
Yeah.
You're doing the motion of grabbing and pulling. It's not. So it's pretty much putting your hand to the face in a corner. Like you can't do that.
Well, pulling hair is allowed. Headbutts are not allowed, as your boy Darwin Nunez saw. Got that red card. We'll get into that in a little bit because I know this is a touchy subject for Georgie. All right, because hasn't been a good first couple weeks. But back to the Chelsea and Tottenham game. So it ends up 2-2. What do you think about your boy Conte posting on Instagram afterwards?
That's some funny stuff to be honest. But like, so did you see the two times they got into it?
Yeah, at the beginning. It was like, what was it? Second goal or first goal? One of the goals where they chest bumped each other.
Yeah, that was so weird. I was watching the game.
It almost looks like they're celebrating together until they get mad at each other.
But I didn't know. I want to know how it all started because it literally they just like the TV. They just put them both on the screen and they're like chest bumping each other. So like, what's going on? But I assume it's. I don't know. I don't know what goal it was. I think it was after Spurs equalized.
Yeah.
And I think that's when he was like, Thomas Tuchel was like, yeah, that was a foul. Like,
well, I mean, they're always going to get pissed off at each other because one of them is going to be arguing with the refs the whole game, and then the other one's going to be arguing at him for arguing with the refs. Tensions are high, and obviously it's a very important game, but because of all of the controversy, of course, they're not going to be happy with each other. They're not going to be like, so they got mad at each other. They chest bumped each other, which was weird. It's just really weird. They got in each other's faces. And then Tuchel does the Jose Mourinho celebration, runs down the touchline in front of Conte
when they scored the second goal.
Yeah, he thought which he thought was the winner.
Yeah, and then obviously Spurs equalized, and then the handshake in the end.
Yeah.
It's like it was weird because like I don't even know. Like he just said, "Look me." When he shake my hand, look me in the eye.
That's the hand gesture that he had. And
he wouldn't let go of the handshake.
Well, obviously, it looks like, by the looks of it, Tuchel just shook his hand very hard.
Yeah.
And like really squeezed his hand. So Conte gets upset, and then Tuchel like grabs him and tells him, "Look me in the eye." Drama, but all very good entertainment for fans worldwide.
No, it was good, and like the game was really good. I thought Chelsea completely dominated Spurs. It wasn't even like. I was surprised. I'm very surprised by that.
And
just because I thought Spurs overall going into the season would be the better of the two, it seemed like Chelsea controlled most of the game, more chances. They were just like, completely dominating Spurs. But
the referees played a big part in it. And Tuchel afterwards said, he's like, I can't coach the next game, but the referee can referee the next game. Like, how's that fair?
And he has a point. Like, there needs to be some repercussion for...
There needs to be some accountability for the referees. However, it's tough because you're walking like a really dangerous area where you... Because a lot of managers have said, why don't the referees come do post-match press conference so that they can explain their decisions and stuff.
Fair
but
as well.
Here's the problem, though. You're never going to have a good referee because no matter what, they're always 50% wrong, at least.
Yeah.
Right? Even if it is a foul, players are going to be in their face and the coaches aren't going to agree. Conte said at the end in the press conference when they asked him about the hair pulling, he was like, well, I didn't see it, but VAR looked at it and they made their decision, so that was the decision. However, if he would have been on the other side of that, he would have been furious.
Yeah.
So no matter what, the referees are going to be wrong technically according to the players and to the team. So it's like you can have them explain their decision, but I don't know if they should have like a post-match press conference, but I do think there should be a little bit more, maybe like a couple days after, like a weekend recap or something like that, where they've managed to at least get into like a referee meeting, talk about their decisions, and then post something publicly to the fans so that people can understand. And then that's where they can say either we got it wrong or we got it right or whatever, and this is why. But
the whole point of VAR was
that's the problem.
To get rid of controversy and like some 50-50 decision that, oh my God, it was a foul and then it led to a goal. That was the whole entire point. And now we're in a situation where you have VAR. They take about 5 to 10 minutes to figure out what exactly the decision is. When players score a goal, you're not like as excited anymore because like, oh, he might be offside. Oh, he might have fouled someone. It takes away from the emotion, and you still get it wrong. So like you're taking away the emotion, which is a huge part of the game, where everybody's happy, everyone's excited, and on top of that, you're still not getting it right. So what's the whole point of VAR? Yeah. Well,
the problem with the VAR is that the whole, like you said, the whole point is for it to be perfect.
Yeah.
For us to say there's not going to be any more human error. So even if you had 99 of those calls be right and they manage the VAR is correct and they overturn the decision or they make the right decision, whatever, and then that 100th one is wrong, people are going to say, well, you can't put in a system that says that you're going to eliminate like the human error part of it, and then there's still errors. The problem, I agree with you, is that the wording of the clear and obvious is like, that's just a fancy term for saying that there's gray area in between, and it just doesn't work. And most of the players have said that they don't like VAR because, like you said, if they score a goal and then they're like, oh, well, we can't fully celebrate because we know it's going to be checked. And then after the check is complete, you're already at the half waiting for the kickoff. There's no more emotion. There's no more celebration. However, does it outweigh the amount of bad decisions though that happen? That's the thing. Because really, does it outweigh the amount? Like if there was no VAR, and a lot of those calls don't get overturned, is it still better to have VAR where VAR still makes a couple of mistakes, but it manages to overturn most of the decisions? Or do you just say, look, referees are human and they make mistakes just like the players and the coaches. We have to allow for that. And if that changes the game, that changes the game.
I like the goal line technology. I like VAR for offsides. VAR for fouls, it's a gray area. Because in the end of the day, it's not VAR itself. It's not making a decision. It's somebody behind VAR making that decision anyway. So it's still a referee looking at it saying, this is a foul, it's not a foul. It couldn't get any more clear than Kai Havertz getting fouled.
Yeah.
And there was a referee, behind the screen, watching it over and over, every replay, every side. And he decided it's not.
Yeah, but that's the problem, though. If you start saying, okay, well, we can use VAR for offside.
Yeah.
All right, but you can't use it for fouls. Now, when there's a foul, people are going to be like, well, we have VAR already in place, so why can't we check for the fouls anyway? Because that was a clear foul and he didn't call it. Like in a situation that was a clear foul and he didn't call it.
I mean, you haven't in this, like...
You know what I'm saying? So, like, I'm just saying, it's almost one of those things where they either have to have it for everything and review everything that can happen in that play that can change the decision of whatever happened, or you don't have it at all. Or... My suggestion, and it's impossible, but like the goal line technology, everyone's come to accept it.
Yeah,
because it's automatic. There's no delay anymore. It goes on the watch, and then they've checked it, and so far there hasn't been any real situations where it's messed up. So that one's good. So everyone's accepted that one now. Where at first there was a little bit of controversy over those as well. The VAR people haven't accepted yet.
No.
And so, like the offsides, for example, if they managed to come up with a system that showed the offside in real time, like the goal line technology, people would accept that.
Yeah.
But you can't, because they have to have a guy draw a line on the computer and then do the measurements specifically according to the dimensions of the pitch or whatever, and then they make the decision.
Yeah.
But so that one, but I agree with that one. And that one, I don't know. Actually, I don't agree with that one, because that one messes up the like armpit when they're like, oh, the armpit was offside.
But
and you're
see,
like, dude,
but
come
that's
on.
not VAR. That's the rules. Like,
right.
Like if they took away,
But
the
because of
arms,
VAR though, it still
now
puts it in
it's-
controversy.
Yeah, and also those lines, man. Those are like some sketchy. Like the line is never. Another problem I have with the, let's say, the offsides is when you look at the screen, it's never a straight on picture. They never show you a straight on. It's always like at an angle.
Well, yeah.
So like us on the TV, we're like, well, I don't know. This looks like it could be not. But then they draw the lines. It's like completely the opposite.
Well, because they can't have in order for you to be able to see it in line, you'd have to have a camera basically at every 2-3 yards.
NFL does it.
I don't know.
Like the NFL, if whenever they're like short or whatever, they review it and there's a straight on. And it shows if he touched, it doesn't. Like, if NFL can do it, why can't the Premier League? But, I mean, that's a whole different subject. But
yeah,
I don't mind the VAR for offside as much, because they draw the line and they tell me yes or no. And I have to agree with it. I just have to live with it, because they have the lines.
I still don't like that. I think they need to change it, because when they say the armpit was offside, I'm just like, come on.
Well, they need to make the rule and say armpit cannot be offside. And then it just legs only or head, whatever it is.
Any decision in the game, there's a lot of gray area, even with the offsides, because it's like the armpit, and then it's like if it comes off a defender, well, was it an intentional pass or was it not an intentional pass? And like, should it be called offsides? I think VAR, the problem with VAR is that people who are in charge, the business people who are in charge of making some of these decisions, I feel like they care more about retiring, saying that they did something to change the game and they had an influence on the game, rather than whether that makes the game better or not.
Yeah.
And I don't think VAR is ready. And I think they try to make it seem like VAR was going to be ready and everything, but clearly it's not. And there's a lot of problems. And I think they're too ashamed to say, you know what, we just need to take it out. It didn't work. We're going to go back, because they're going to feel like they're taking a step backwards. Mm-hmm. So I think they'd rather just live with the decisions that they make with the VAR.
I mean, again, VAR or not, like goal line technology, it's right, like you said, it's instant, it's right away. It's technology that tells you it's in or not. It's not a human eye that has to go there and tell you. VAR, I can have a completely different opinion on what's a foul compared to you, and we can both say it is, it's not.
Yeah.
And some referees are like that as well. Not every referee calls the game the same way. So you're still getting the human error with VAR. So I mean,
you know what bothers me the most about VAR is the fact that there's a lot of them that can be reviewed on the field by the referee that they don't even take it to the review.
Yeah.
Where the referee's just listening to the guy and the guy makes a decision and you're like, he should go and look at the screen, because he's the one on the field.
Yeah.
He should go and look at the screen, and oftentimes they don't even go and look at the screen. And I'm guessing it's because they probably don't want to waste time or whatever it is, or they feel comfortable in their decisions. But a lot of the times it's like, I can't believe he didn't even at least go look at the screen to see if it was if he needs to, he needs to make that decision.
And also, I really don't understand why it takes such a long time. For example, the Kai Havertz foul. There was like 30 seconds in between. You literally, like that, the person, whoever's in the VAR room, can start reviewing the play as it happens. You don't like, why,
right.
Why does it like...
Another 30 seconds until the play's dead, and then they start reviewing the footage and all that.
It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
Why do you have to... why is the rule when the ball goes out of bounds, then you can review and you got to hold it?
Well, sometimes it happens where if it's clear and the referee missed it, even if 20 seconds goes by, the referee will call it back when the VAR says. Yeah. So they do start reviewing it, but when you've had that much time, you think that they'd come to the right decision.
Yeah. Now, wait 5 minutes and you still get it wrong.
But the thing is, this season at least, what I've noticed so far is that the referees are not making as many calls. Yeah. So at some meeting in the offseason, the referees looked at a bunch of situations and they said, okay, we need to start letting the game flow a little bit because we're making way too many decisions too easy. So now, if it's not a clear foul, let it play. Like, the game's a physical game, so now let's let it play a little bit, which puts the referees, and there's an adjustment period as well, because they're like, okay, now we have to change our refereeing methods a little bit, where a foul that they would have easily given. Now they have to think twice and be like, okay, they don't want us to call that anymore. So now it puts them probably in a mindset of like, is that a foul? Where I normally would have called it. They're telling us not to call it, but that one seemed like there's a lot more gray area now as well. So that Kai Havertz one, I wonder if the referee was like, you know what? They're telling us not to make it such easy calls anymore.
Yeah.
So that one, we'll let it go.
Plus the VAR can save
The problem is if it ends up in a goal, which a lot of times it ends up happening, it makes the foul look worse or the decision look worse. If the ball goes out of bounds and then 3 minutes later nothing happens and then 4 minutes later they score a goal, nobody's going to care about that anymore. But it's the fact that because of that leading directly to a goal, that's a huge problem.
Yeah. And another thing, back to the VAR and offside. I hate it when the referees see it's a clear offside. They don't raise their flag. The play goes on for 20 seconds. The guy sprints another 40 yards, clashes with the goalkeeper, and then they're like, "Oh, okay, it's offside." Well, they need to scratch. Like that leads one to many injuries that you don't even need to even take a chance on. Plus, like these guys are doing sprints to get to a ball, and the referee's like, "Oh, yeah, whatever, offside."
Right.
Like you can't do that. And the new rule is supposed to be from this year is you can't let the play go on, but they're still doing it.
Yeah, I think they say if it's close, if they're like not 100% sure, they have to let it go on. And if it's a clear offsides, they call it. They're not going to wait. But I agree. And that's probably a lot of goalkeepers are complaining about that one because they have to come out for a 50-50 ball. Typically, those offside plays happen with a long ball or a through ball where it's a 50-50 ball between the striker and the goalkeeper. And if there's a clash and someone gets hurt, when they should have called it offsides 5 seconds earlier or whatever, then that becomes a problem as well. So,
yeah, my boy Van Dijk last year, or 2 years ago, Everton with Pickford, they let the play go on for 30 seconds, 20 seconds, whatever, and then towards ACL, boom.
Well, here's the thing though: if they fix one problem, it creates another problem.
Yeah.
So it's never going to be perfect. If they say, okay, now we're going to start calling offsides, and then someone scores, and then they weren't offsides. Now people are going to be like, well, why did we change it? You shouldn't have changed it. Yeah. So there's always going to be problems. But it is an issue when, for example, like podcasts and pundits on TV are talking more about the refereeing than they're talking about the game and the plays and the tactics of the coaches and stuff. So.
And it was a really good game, the Chelsea Spurs game. Like I said, Chelsea dominated, and I thought they played really well, and they deserved to win. But
by the way, it also overshadows things like the Koulibaly goal.
Yeah.
That was
like
nice.
We're not even talking that wasn't even like the first thing when people talk about that game. Nobody's talking about Koulibaly. Yep. Everybody's talking about the referee. Like it's crazy.
Yeah,
it's insane.
But it is what it is. We'll see what changes need to be made. But I wonder if like the FA or whatever makes an actual statement or something that says like, okay, this is what happened and this is why it happened that way or whatever. But I feel like I get it. They have to protect the referees because the referees are the neutral party or whatever. So they have to protect them. And they're individuals. So it's not like a whole team, but at the same time, they do have to hold them a little bit more accountable. I feel like they protect them too much.
Yeah, I mean, you can't talk to them. Like you can't do anything especially after a game. Like you see the VAR, you see it's a wrong decision. Just come on and say, okay, we made a mistake. Yeah, well, go on. Everybody would agree and be like in favor of referees or their decisions if they just came out and held their head up high and said, look, we messed up.
But that can't happen too often because if that happens too often, then it's like, no, you can't just keep messing up.
Like, I don't mind the occasional foul. Like, everyone's going to get it wrong or, something, whatever. But when it's, like, a clear and obvious, which is what the wording is for VAR, clear and obvious mistake, and you just decide not to. So it's, I don't know. Something needs to change.
All right, so moving on to the team that looks like they're going to win the Premier League this year, Arsenal, clearly. Another great performance.
Really well, yeah.
We're flying. We're flying.
Gabriel Jesus' goal, the first one. Wow. I mean, there was a little deflection that took it over.
Yeah, but still.
But what a finish.
He should have gotten his hat trick as well.
Yeah.
The guy had a couple other opportunities.
Yeah. The only concern, it's out of nowhere, 2 random goals from Leicester. Like, again, it's
typical
like... But the response was spot on.
That's the difference this year is the response is different. Typically, Arsenal starts off really well. We do some great things, and we're like, man, we're flying. Yeah. Next thing you know, we're in shambles. And here's what happens. Here's what happens last season in this game. We score the own goal. and then we crumble and we score. We let two more goals go in,
Yeah.
and then at the end of the game, you're like, this is an absolute joke. How does it come to that? The thing that I saw that was different from this game versus in the past was as soon as that own goal went in, people started like applauding and cheering for Saliba.
Yeah.
And like people started to get like they were basically saying like it's okay, let's go, let's figure out for the next one. Next thing you know, Arsenal's back, and it's like
what was it? Both times Leicester scored, Arsenal scored within like 2 minutes, a minute and 40.
And we never looked. Like, we might have lost it for like a minute or two, but we never lost the handle on that game, and we always looked like we were the best team.
Yeah.
And I think that consistency has always been Arsenal's problem. Is we do some really good things where you see some, and if you look at some of the best Premier League goals in history, or at least over the last 2 decades, there's a lot of really good Arsenal goals where they're like passing the ball one touch, and they like dribble it in. So you see that happen at times.
Yeah.
But then there's also times where you're like, what is going on with this club? What is going on with this team? This season, I'm hoping it's a great start. I don't want to get too excited, but I'm hoping this is how it continues, because if we can play like this against all the teams that are not the top, the big six or the big five, whatever you want to call them, if we can play like this against all those teams, we're guaranteed Champions League.
Yeah.
And then it's about, we'll probably lose at some point to Manchester City or Liverpool, but we'll manage to get a result against Tottenham, against Manchester United, and maybe we'll draw Man City or maybe we'll draw Liverpool or something like that. So I think the consistency is so far over the first 2 weeks is good, and that just builds to the confidence continuing the season. Because last season we started 3 straight defeats, and it's like
it's hard to come back from.
It's hard to come back from that.
What I like about this Arsenal team is they're young, but they have a lot more experience now than a year or two ago. Now it's all the young guys coming. I don't want to say into their prime, but coming into their own with a lot more confidence. They're playing like to their own like limits and kind of doing their own thing. It's not like they have so much pressure. Now it's like, all right, there's no pressure, just go out and play.
It's a good group of players.
It's a good mix. It's a good mix right now. My player of the game, Martinelli. That guy was you talk about a wing or forward, whatever. That guy worked his ass off the whole entire game.
He's a good player. The problem with him as well is that consistency is not his strong suit all the time. So he has moments where he's like, this guy's he's doing really, really well. And then other times where he doesn't help us very much. So I'm hoping for a lot of these players, not just him, but Martinelli, Saka, Odegaard, like a lot of these players, I'm hoping that, especially Xhaka, for a lot of these guys, I'm hoping that they can be consistent. Because if they can be consistent and they play like they have been playing, Martinelli's going to be one of the top players in the Premier League if he keeps playing like that. Saka will be as well. Saka's going to be... he's going to get called up for the national team consistently. He's going to be a starter. And he's very, very young. Him and Martinelli.
What's up with your boy Xhaka making those runs, man? I've never seen that before.
Listen, the guy's...
He's making those, like... he's playing a box-to-box midfielder, and he's making the runs in. It's like, wait...
He's excited. I think he's excited about the team that he's got.
Yeah, I mean, there's a really good core, and I think your defense is sorted. Your midfield it looks really good so far. Obviously, you just got to keep everyone healthy.
Yep, that's the key. But that's the key for anyone. Yeah, anyone in the Premier League. Keep your best players healthy. Our roster, our bench is not that deep. No. That's the problem. Our bench is not really that deep. So,
it's a good start.
Good start.
And young guys, they're hungry. They're willing to run, willing to defend. Everyone as a team. Gabriel Jesus is playing out of this world, scoring goals for fun.
Manchester United. Let's go straight into that one. What is going on? What is going on with your boy Ronaldo and Ten Hag?
Absolutely terrible. Did you watch the game?
Yep.
I mean,
those first 30, 35 minutes or whatever. It's like the worst.
Yeah, De Gea made decent amount of mistakes.
De Gea made some mistakes, but
let the ball through his hands. That's obviously obvious error. But then why would you even play the ball to Eriksen?
Listen, I've seen that ball be played in a lot of other teams like Manchester City and Barcelona.
Yeah.
And the guy touches it back to the center back, and they're out of it.
Why risk?
Yes, it's probably not. It's not the safest of passes for sure. I think De Gea trusted Eriksen.
But then
enough to play him that ball.
Try to play like...
I don't think Eriksen actually thought De Gea was going to play him that ball, and that's the problem.
Yeah, I don't think so either. So, I mean, whoever you want to blame on that one, but just the whole entire team, mood, the mentality, everything's off, completely off.
So it's clear that they're not doing very well right now. And it's not just on the field. That's the biggest thing is that like the problems that are happening off the field are clearly visible on the field.
Yeah.
So bad that Ten Hag cancels the day off and makes them run the amount of distance
The Brentford
covered more than Manchester United.
Which is crazy. I
mean, first of all, we've been part of a professional environment. You never cancel a day off. Like that is the player. You have to be professional, and you have to understand that the players are your employees, but they're not like your slaves.
Yeah.
So if you ever were to do that, cancel a day off when it's already been scheduled, that's like it's a big problem.
Everyone's pissed off.
Because everyone's pissed off.
Yeah.
Because people have plans, and you got to think like Ronaldo and those types of players. They have like managers who have a schedule for them set, right? Yeah. So they go off of their schedule, but I'm sure he had to cancel other things on that day.
But not even that. Think about it. Ronaldo's 37.
Do you think he showed up to that training session?
Yeah.
Do you think he was there?
Yeah, 100%.
I wonder if he didn't show up.
No,
and they just kept it under the.
No, they were. If he didn't show, they would have leaked it on purpose just to get him out of the club. But like Ronaldo's 37, the guy ran. I mean, I don't know how much he ran during the game, but to make him show up the next day, like what, 12 hours later, 15 hours, like whatever it was, in the morning, to make him run whatever.
So they each covered what is it, like 8.9 miles or something like that. Did they each cover 8.9 miles? Is that what it was?
It's Brentford cover. I don't know. They said in kilometers. They cover like 13 kilometers. I don't know what Manchester United did. So if they covered 10 kilometers, everybody on the team would have had to run 3 more kilometers.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. So it was somewhere around, I don't know, like 8 or 9 or something, like miles.
That's
whatever.
Insane.
It was a lot. It was a because you're adding all of them individually. So I wonder, did he make them all run an extra 8 or 9 miles? That's a lot.
That's a lot.
The day after a match.
That's a lot.
Like the sports scientists at Manchester United were probably like, what are you doing?
Yeah. I mean, even if you had to run 2 miles, that's still a lot after a game for an older body that played. And I wonder if 90 minutes.
Was it a recovery run?
No chance.
Or was it like, you better run as fast as you can?
There's no way he would have made them show up to a training session. Oh, don't worry, guys. Just jog it off. Run. I mean, I understand what he's trying to do. He has to change the mentality. He has to make sure that they don't lose. They didn't go with the mentality like, oh, it's okay to lose. I understand that. But you're pissing players that are like they're going to stay on this team. It's not like you can just get rid of these guys. Like they're going to be on this team now, and you have to deal with like their personalities, their egos. And after the game, like that was a shit game by Manchester United, everyone. But after the game, Gary Neville started, him and Jamie Redknapp got into it in a very heated debate because Gary Neville was blaming the owners. The Glazers, they have to go, like, they're not investing into the team, blah, 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 blah. And Jamie Redknapp was like, look, like, they spend a lot of money. It's not like they're not giving you guys any money. And there's a whole debate. So then after on Twitter, I saw there's a whole thread of why the old Manchester United fans want the Glazers family to leave. Mm-hmm. A lot of them are saying they're making money off Manchester United and taking the money instead of investing it back into the team. Whatever they make, they obviously keep, and they're taking more and more out of the club. They're not investing into the stadium, which is what Gary Neville said. The stadium used to be one of the best in the world. Now it's getting old. There's like cracks. Like they're not reinvesting the money, making it. The facilities good. Like Manchester United used to be up here in that sense, and now they're just like slowly, going lower and lower, and they're just not. There's not as much care as they should be on the field, off the field, and all that stuff. And I completely understand. If I was a Manchester United fan, I would want these guys out because obviously they don't care too much. But they've given every single manager a lot of money to work with as well. You can say that money is not coming out of their pocket and that money is like club made, and the club is just like making the money and they're just putting it back in, which is fine. But like to say that you want owners out, you can't blame the owners for every single game, every single year. These guys are changing the manager, bringing in new managers. They're bringing Ronaldo in. They're bringing new players in. They're spending money. There's Bob Maguire. They brought Ronaldo back. Bruno Fernandes. Like all these players, like Martinez now, the left back they just signed. They're putting money in. It's not like they're not investing money.
Yeah, but I think, for me, I think the biggest problem, and I think Gary Neville said this as well, is the problem is as well with like the scouting department and the recruiting.
Yeah.
Like the recruiting's been terrible.
Yeah.
They've spent a lot of money on players that aren't good enough. And so they're saying, like, what are we doing? Because you see Manchester City, you see Chelsea, Tottenham, all these people investing the right amount of money in the right amount of players. Arsenal now as well.
Yeah.
And Manchester United
Falling behind.
Yeah. So what's going on with like their scouting and the recruiting department that they can't get the right players or they can't get good enough players to come? You can blame it on the culture as much as you want, but if you keep bringing guys in who are not going to be able to be good enough and change it, then there's a problem with your recruiting. And you and I both know from a professional standpoint, tactics are important. Don't get me wrong. But if you have better players than the other team, you're most likely going to win the game.
Yeah.
And so Manchester United just hasn't had good enough players to win a lot of these games. And I mean, come on. We talked about this last time, but McTominay and Fred are your starting central midfielders. Like, something has gone wrong there.
But that's the thing though. Like, if you're a coach and you come into the team, where it was Mourinho, Van Gaal, like a few years ago, Moyes, even like when it was right after Sir Alex, like it's not like they're not giving money. So is it the managers that are buying terrible players? Is it?
I think it's a lot of people.
Is there no communication? Is there like where's the gap? There's like something's missing in between.
I think there's a lot of problems before you even get to the manager that need to be fixed. So these managers come in and they're like, basically they get to their desk and there's like a bunch of problems already on the desk that they have to sort through. And I think for a lot of these managers, it's just been too much that they haven't been able to do. So, or to fix. So I think that's the problem, that a lot of things need to get fixed before they even think about the manager. And it's not just the manager. Like you said, it's the ownership. Like I said, it's the recruiting department. And then it all stems down to, at the end, the culture. That's what creates the culture of the club. And right now the culture is not good.
But I will say this. Ten Hag, he bought Martinez and brought two players that are his players. Mm-hmm. He brought them in for overall, I don't know, 80, 90 million. Like, that's a lot of...
That's what you're going to do as a coach.
Yeah, you're going to bring your own players. But, like, that's... Oh, I mean, we're 2 games in, so I don't want to say they're flopping. But I do not agree with Martinez as a center back.
Yeah.
I mean, you give me 80 million, I'm pretty sure you can find a good defensive mid. Casemiro, they're talking about it now. Like, there's rumors to Casemiro, Pulisic potentially going there.
Now
like,
the rumor after that game, the rumors are starting where Manchester United is going to be linked to everyone at this point.
Because, I mean, they need somebody like who. Like, I mean, is Pulisic actually gonna be better than Rashford? Is he gonna be better?
Rashford hasn't been good lately.
He hasn't been good
in a while, actually. To be fair.
I mean, there's rumors of him going to PSG, and Ten Hag said no. We want him here.
PSG values him at half the price of what Manchester United value him. And PSG's like, we're not even going to get close to that figure if that's what you guys really think he's worth.
Yeah.
Pulisic is, I think he's a good target because he's not getting playing time at Chelsea, so they're getting him in the right. It's not that he's not starting.
Yeah, I mean, he said he was complaining about playing time at Chelsea.
For the quality of a player that he is, and every time and that's what Tuchel said. He's like, the problem was when I had him at Dortmund, he was always a good player to come off the bench.
Yeah.
He's like, so unfortunately for him, like that's the way I look at him right now. But as a player at that level, who's that young, or who's maybe not that young anymore, but he's still young, but he's getting into his prime.
Yeah.
Like, he's not just an up and coming player. He's getting to his prime. He needs to play.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's going to make the World Cup roster regardless.
Yeah, he will.
Obviously.
It's just a matter
because he's at Chelsea.
But
for him, he's got to play.
Yeah.
But
is he? I mean, I don't know. He might go to Manchester United and play every game, every minute. But you're not playing at Chelsea. You're gonna play. I don't know.
I think it's a good trade for him. Yeah. I think he needs to have a conversation with Tuchel and be like, all right, look, what's my role? Is this going to be my role? Because if this is going to be my role, I need to go somewhere else. And if his option is Manchester United,
on the loan for a year,
and
see how it goes.
And he does well, he's gonna get starting. He's gonna get the starting position.
You think so though? I mean,
I think you have to start him. If you're gonna buy him, you have to start him.
They're gonna loan him.
Or sorry, loan him, right?
If you're fair enough. If you're bringing him in right now,
you're gonna start him.
He's gonna be a key.
You don't bring him on loan and then put him on the bench. You bring him on loan to play, and then maybe he's one of the pieces that starts helping them get results. They either buy him or he goes back to Chelsea.
Yeah.
But he gets playing time. It's a win-win situation for everyone. Because Chelsea's not worried about Manchester United. It's not like they're loaning him out to Manchester City or Tottenham or something like that. Yeah. They're not worried about Manchester United because they know they're probably not going to be competing for the Champions League or the Premier League. So Chelsea wouldn't be worried about him, but he'll be playing on a good team where he'll get some playing time. It's better than loaning him out to Spain. Right?
You want Premier League experience.
So
last week we talked about where Manchester United could potentially end up. I don't know what did I even say? Like
we said like 8 or 9. We said 8 or 9.
This is me towards the bottom of the first half of the table.
Yep. I'm not changing mine.
If they get rid of Ronaldo, if Ronaldo leaves,
which they said he's free to leave if he finds a club now.
Yeah,
which was not what they were saying a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, now I think they're just sick of the situation going on. Fair enough. If he leaves, Manchester United finishing in the bottom half of the table.
You think so?
Yeah. If he leaves,
I'm getting closer to.
There's no one on that team that's gonna score 20 plus goals.
I don't know. I'm getting closer to the side of Ronaldo's not as effective for Manchester United anymore. And I think maybe it might actually be better to just let him go. I'm not saying Ronaldo's not good enough because I just think it's a bad fit for him now.
Yeah.
And you could have a really good player, like we talked about Aubameyang at Arsenal. Wasn't doing too well. Probably a bad fit towards the end. He goes to Barcelona and starts scoring a bunch of goals at the beginning.
And then he might go to Chelsea.
Yeah, now he might go to Chelsea. But like Raheem Sterling as well. Or like Salah at Chelsea, right?
Yeah.
Salah wasn't a good fit for Chelsea, but then he goes to Liverpool and he's great. Ronaldo, I think he's battling that, where he might not be the greatest fit for Manchester United anymore, and also his age, where teams are saying like, well, he might not be a good fit for us anymore because of his age. Mm-hmm. But I'm starting to get closer to that, where I think maybe just let Ronaldo go wherever he wants to go, and then maybe the club can rebuild a little. Because if you think about it this way, if Ronaldo's gone, a lot of the problems that Manchester United have in changing the culture are gone with him. Because Ten Hag goes...
Are they?
Yeah, because Ten Hag goes into the locker room right now and he says, you guys are going to run 9 miles because Brentford did. Ronaldo looks at you and is like, do you know who I am? Do you think I need to run? Like, do you really think Ronaldo was like, yes, coach, I'm going to run those 9 miles?
No.
You know what I mean? So, like, you take him out, and what other personality in there is big enough?
Oh, no, is big. No.
So now Ten Hag can say, okay, now you guys are going to run 9 miles or 10 miles or whatever. Now you guys are going to run 10 miles. And all of them are going to say, yes, coach. If Ronaldo is there, Harry Maguire, Luke Shaw, those guys are like, if Ronaldo doesn't want to do it, I don't want to do it.
Yeah. But again, where do you find those 20 goals?
Well,
I mean, you're not finding any goals now. But where do you find those goals?
I don't know, man.
Like, Pulisic is not going to score you 15.
I think he would.
No. Pulisic is not going to score 15 goals. He's in front of goal. His
goal to minute ratio has got to be pretty good.
He's fairly wasteful in front of goal for the amount of chances that he got.
Assists and goals per minute. Yeah, it's got to be pretty good.
Fair enough, you can say assist, but who is he going to assist to? Unless, obviously, again, a lot can happen in the transfer window. They might bring somebody in, but with the names there, Marko Arnautovic, like. Is that guy like you?
Well, that one
away,
that one and Rabiot are done now.
Yeah, supposedly Rabiot doesn't want even. Like,
well,
the money.
The salary. They're like, there's no chance. They said the deal's completely off unless he wants to change it. First of all, that's what I'm talking about. Recruiting department. If those are your two targets for how you're going to fix your season, I mean, you got to get rid of the whole recruiting and scouting department there, right? Like that's not good.
I mean, I don't know those two players personally, like whatever, but those two players are like known to be fairly bad apples in locker rooms as well. Arnautovic at West Ham was bad. Rabiot, he went to PSG, now at Juve, it's not working out. Like,
yep.
Like he's not, and you talk about Ronaldo leaving, and you want to replace Ronaldo with somebody that's less of a player than Ronaldo, but
I think those are the wrong targets for sure.
Yeah.
So that club, Shambles, as usual.
Over.
But do you think they go Ronaldo in or Ronaldo out? Do you think they still finish 8th best or 9th best?
8th best.
Okay. I'm going to say they're still going to be 8 or 9 regardless of whatever happens. They keep Ronaldo, 8 or 9. They let Ronaldo go, 8 or 9. And I think that's because Ten Hag needs some more time. Like, you can't judge the guy based off of being there for a couple months, like a month or two. Like, you have to give him enough time to try and do his best to change the culture, let the transfer window close, and then from there actually start building a squad tactically and all that.
Okay, so with Ronaldo, I think 8th, best 7th, 8th, maybe. Without Ronaldo, bottom half. And I do agree. I think they need to stand by the manager, let him be there for at least 2 years, let him change the culture if he can, and then you can judge him on that. Everybody wants the results right away, and everyone's quick to judge and all that. Like, he needs time. Everybody needs time. Like,
I think they need to hit the reset button.
Yeah.
And by that I mean, I think Manchester United needs to communicate with the fans and say, look, we understand where we're at. We're in shambles right now. This is going to be a process of 3 to 5 years. So you're just going to have to bear with us for 3 to 5 years. And we're going to do our best in the time being. I mean, they're never going to say this publicly.
Yeah.
But in the boardroom or in the board meetings when they're talking, they should talk to each other and say, like, this should be our new plan. Because right now they're probably saying, like, they're just trying to patch everything up right now. And they're saying, okay, we get rid of Ronaldo, we get Arnautovic. That's how we patch it up. And like...
Well, that's what they've tried. Cavani didn't work out.
Yeah. So that's...
Ronaldo's worked out a lot better than a lot of people thought because he scored a lot of goals, but still clearly not working out.
I think they need to look at their lineup and say, okay, this whole position, all 3 of these guys that are in this position, we need them gone within the next 3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
And we need to replace them with players who are this. And same thing for all the other positions. And say, okay, De Gea, for example, if we believe in him, he's going to be part of our long-term plan, but we need better players around him. Mm-hmm. Whatever. So I think they just need to hit the reset button and know and understand that it's going to take them 3 to 5 years, and just leave these next 2-3 years as like just try and finish as high on the table as you can, but we're thinking about the long term.
They need to bring somebody. I mean, yeah, I don't know. They need players in that are willing to put in the work and do better. And does Maguire start, or is he benched?
I'm telling you, man. Maguire, Luke Shaw, Fred, McTominay. These guys wouldn't start at Newcastle right now. They would start at Crystal Palace.
I actually liked Maguire at Leicester. I was a big fan of Maguire at Leicester. And then he went to Manchester. I don't know what happened. I don't know.
I like Varane at Real Madrid.
Yeah. Well, Varane should be playing. Like, that's a whole... I don't know. Martinez.
We'll move on from Manchester United because we can go on for hours about them. Let's get into it. Let's get into it, Georgie, so we can get it out of the way, rip the Band-Aid straight off. Liverpool.
Yeah.
Playing against Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace playing a tactically very good game. And the problem, the thing is, I like tactics because it's like, it's interesting to see how you can take a group that should not win or should not get a draw and get them to get a draw or get a win. The funny thing is, Liverpool cannot adjust their tactics for Crystal Palace. They cannot say, like, we're going to play like this because Crystal Palace plays like this. Liverpool's going to say, we're going to play the same style because it's the best style. And eventually we're going to score a goal and we're going to win. Crystal Palace, on the other hand, has to say, we have to play with a back line of 5. Mm-hmm. It's funny because they said that the lineup was like a 3-4-3 or a 3-5-2 or whatever. Really, the lineup was a back line of 5. Yeah. You don't call it a 3. You call it a 5 because that's how they were the entire game.
Yeah.
Even if Liverpool knew that they were going to play that lineup the whole week, they can't do anything about it.
No, they can't.
They can't be like, okay, well, let's play with a back 5 and then let them have the ball and then we'll go on the counterattack. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
But Crystal Palace can do it for the other way, and it works.
Yeah.
They held on, weathered the storm a little bit, and then counterattack.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, Liverpool's down 1-0, and they have a red card because your boy Darwin Nunez couldn't keep his head. What do you think about? Let's talk about that situation right there. What do you think?
Darwin Nunez?
Yeah.
I mean, he lost his cool. You can't be doing that. I mean, you're gonna get pushed. You're gonna get shoved. They're gonna provoke you. But I actually think, in the long term, grand scheme of things, this is the best thing that could happen for Darwin Nunez.
Right.
I don't think he was one. Well, this is a different topic, but I think Jurgen Klopp's thoughts are about all this, but Nunez was not ready. He looks dangerous against Manchester City when he came on. He looked amazing versus Fulham, but I don't think he's ready for a 90-minute Premier League performance. And even when he was the first half, the first 20 minutes, he was there. He was making those runs, getting and winning the ball and trying to get on like a last touch. He had a few opportunities to score, didn't score. After that, he died down. He got tired. He couldn't just keep doing what he was doing, like pressing and doing the normal runs in behind and all that. So I don't think he's fully ready, which is fair enough. Like, he needs
but you guys didn't even have Firmino, did you?
No, he's injured.
Yeah.
So that's why he was forced to play. But I think now with this, he's gonna get 3-5 games, whatever he's gonna get. That's like 3-4 weeks out, unless there's a cup game in between somewhere, where it's Crabble FA. I don't know if there's anything between, but he's gonna get a second preseason, and Jurgen Klopp even like touched on this. He's gonna get him in the gym. He's gonna get him running more. He's gonna get him adjusted to the Premier League. And overall, if you look at Jurgen Klopp, when he brings in players, he never likes to put them right out there on the field and let them play. Thiago, Fabinho, like Robertson, any of those players that he brought in, he took his time before he started them. He never just rushed them out. Maybe they play 15 minutes here, didn't play the next game, 20 minutes here, maybe didn't play after. It took Fabinho 4 or 5 months before he even saw like consistent play time. So Jurgen Klopp doesn't like putting players right into like game times. Like, all right, there you go, play. So ideally, in an ideal situation, you have Jota and Firmino, both are out here. But if you have those two where Nunes can come in off the bench, 15, 20 minutes a game, ease him into the style, ease him into the Premier League, and then he's gonna get off to a flying. Like he's gonna start playing a lot better and all that. Not saying that he wasn't playing good in the games he came on, but he's not ready for a 90-minute game, I don't think. And I think Jurgen Klopp knew that, but there's just no other option. Even before the game, reporters said, is Nunes ready? He's like, there's no other fit striker in Liverpool, so I don't have an option. So I'm going to play him, and we're going to see where he goes. But again, back to the point, he should have never lost his school. He was frustrated. He was frustrated in the 5-10 minutes prior to that because the referees were not giving him the call. Again, they were letting go a little bit more. The defenders were grabbing on him and pulling him and all that. He's not used to that, and that's what's going to happen in the Premier League. So you have to get used to it. If you want to be a good enough player or a star player for Liverpool, you better get used to defenders doing that. And he got frustrated. Obviously, you're losing. Like, you can't be doing that. That's a red card.
I'm actually. Of course, you can't do that. Yes, and he gets a red card, and typically, so for some weird reason, that happens when you lose a man. Sometimes you end up playing better.
Yeah, like the crowd gets fired up and all that.
I think it's going to make him a better professional because he's going to realize that he can't lose his head in the future. Because I'm sure Jurgen Klopp told him afterwards, he's like, you just ruined it for the team. Like this is not good. Because maybe if he had been on the field and he stayed on the field, maybe they win 2-1, right? Yeah. Maybe they come back. Who knows? But I think he's going to grow up a little bit, and he's going to have the experience of like, okay, I can't do that. I have to keep my cool, and I have to just get used to the fact that in the Premier League, this is what they're going to do to me.
Yeah.
However, this is what kind of bothers me. What was the guy's name that did this? Anderson?
Yeah.
I feel like there needs to be some repercussions for him too, because you can't just push. Like, I get it, it's just a push or shove.
Yeah.
But if you think about the severity of a push and a shove versus what Nunez did, Nunez he didn't hurt him.
Yeah.
That doesn't hurt. Like he got in his face a little bit, but it's not like he actually caused anything.
It wasn't like a blatant headbutt.
It was,
It was more like he
got in his face.
Yeah.
And he touched him.
Yeah, and obviously he's a bit taller, so he kind of hit him in the chin. I mean, yeah.
But like, there's a difference between that and between like straight up just going in and headbutting someone.
Yeah.
Those are two different types. So, but you can push and you can shove someone off the play. Like, he pushed him and he shoved him.
Yeah.
And then, of course, he comes back and he just puts his head in his face and he gets the red card.
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of BS.
He did get a yellow. Anderson did get a yellow for that.
But I feel like if you look at the severity of both of those things, they were the same. Just because one looks like a headbutt.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like that's kind of BS because if that's the case, if I'm Anderson, I'm just pushing you and shoving you the whole game.
Yeah.
When the ref's not looking.
Yeah.
Right? And you just push you and shove because VAR is not going to look at that. They're just going to push and shove or whatever. But then the guy he turns around, he gets in his face because he stands his ground. And he doesn't actually headbutt him. Like, he doesn't go in and like hurt the guy. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I feel like that's BS because, I don't know.
I mean, you can't lose your cool. I mean.
Yeah, you can't lose your cool. Yeah. I get it.
It's a red. Like, but if that was against Liverpool, I'm saying red card. So it is a red card. But I do agree with you. Like, you can't be a center back or whoever and start shoving and pushing people and then expect nothing to happen.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, I mean, he's baiting him. Like,
that's what he wanted to do, and he got exactly what he wanted.
Yeah.
Which is, it helped them. It helped them get the draw, and Vieira is going to be very happy with the team's performance.
Yeah.
Yeah. Park the bus. Park the bus, man.
So a few things about this Liverpool game. Obviously, very frustrated. 2 games, 2 draws. This game was a lot better than the first game. Against Fulham, there was absolutely no, like, I don't even know how we scored 2 goals. Like, yeah, towards the end, we started to come back. We had more possession and whatnot. But I felt there was a lot more fire and, like, the players wanted it a lot more this game.
Yeah.
So that's a positive. Another positive is there's plenty of there's 24 shots for Liverpool, and there's like 7 or 8 on target. Wasteful. Yes, we can say it was wasteful, but you creating those chances. Salah had 2 really good chances. Nunes had 2 or 3 really good chances towards the end of the half, where he trapped it and then kicked it, hit the crossbar, whatever.
Well, yeah, whoever the defender was got it right off his foot at the end, right?
Oh yeah, and then hit the post. And then in the second half, I think Salah played him through, and he tried. I don't know why he tried with his left foot. He should just try with his right, and then asked for a handball. So he's getting those chances. And Salah's getting chances. In the first half, he had 1 or 2 inside the box. James Milner, in the first 2 minutes, instead of kicking it with the left foot, into the
skies it over the bar.
He could have literally just chipped it over the keeper. Whatever. There's plenty of chances. So that's a positive as well. At some point, you have to think Liverpool are going to start scoring those.
Yeah.
My main problem, and this was what we talked about in the first episode, I think, of the podcast, when we talked about Nunes coming in, how he's going to change Liverpool. Liverpool play a certain way. When Nunes is on the field, they change completely. Whether you can say that's good or bad.
Well, yeah, because they have to.
Problem is that when Darwin Nunes plays, Liverpool completely change and played one specific way. When Firmino's on the field, last year, when Mane and Salah were both on, Liverpool played their own way, but they also changed it up. So with Firmino plays, he likes to come deep and come short to the ball and be the connector between Mane, Salah, and the midfield.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes they also play the long ball in behind with Mane and Salah running behind. When Darwin plays, this last game, they like to go direct only. There's no connecting anything. It was literally just going behind. The problem with that is now, the whole point of bringing Darwin was Liverpool don't become one-dimensional. Now they can go in behind more. Now they can keep the ball, but now we're only playing in behind, and that's the problem. You can't do that when Darwin is not gonna come. And I can watch the game and I can say at least 10 to 15 times in that game, Fabinho, Henderson when he came on, James Milner when he played, Harvey Elliott, they're all in different wavelengths when it comes to the forwards. Because now there's nobody coming to. They think somebody's going to check too. They play the ball short. Crystal Palace takes it. Now you're on the counter.
Yeah.
And that's how they scored. A mistake somewhere. Fabinho overcommits, play the ball in behind. Nat Phillips is no chance to catch Zaha in the race. And he scores. So that's the problem I have with now you're being only one. Now what you're trying to avoid, you became.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing, though. It's not that they're becoming one-dimensional, is that they have to play that way because they don't have Firmino on the field. You know what I mean? Like, the benefit of Nunez and Firmino is if you have both of them healthy, and Jota, if you have all 3 of them healthy, is you can play whichever way you want to play according to who's starting. Or if you want to have multiple, 2 of those guys on the field, which is difficult. But it's like a good problem to have, essentially, because you're saying, okay, we can play like this or we can play like this. Yeah. The problem is Firmino's injured, Jota's injured, so now you only have Darwin Nunez. So you're saying, yes, we probably have to be a little bit more direct now.
Yeah. And to be fair,
changes the game.
Again, Liverpool had plenty of chances. It's not like we didn't have any chances.
I think you guys still did well. What Liverpool does really well is they manage to build up the play to get it out to, like, for example, to get it out wide to Salah. And then they get guys in the box, and then he cuts it back to Trent. Yeah. And then Trent plays across him. Mm-hmm. And you get so many opportunities from that. Yeah. They still did that. Yeah. Crystal Palace just defended with 5. Yeah. And so they were just like, okay, well, eventually what's going to happen is Liverpool starts committing numbers forward when they do that. And then we have an opportunity for the counterattack. But yes, they have to play different. They have to play differently because Darwin Nunez is not going to come in and get it to feet. Yeah. He's not strong enough to come in and get it to feet and
create. But you can change it up. It's not like...
But it's a lot to change up, though. That's a big tactic to go 1 week, from 1 week to say this is how we're going to play, to the next week. Now this is how I want you to play. Yeah. To those guys who now you've been... Because before you only had Firmino, and Jota would be coming off the bench sometimes. Mm-hmm. You play a certain way. Yeah. And so players get used to that. So now you're telling Salah, okay, I don't want you guys to stay super wide anymore. Now I want you guys to be the ones that maybe pop into the space so that Nunez can go in behind.
Yeah. But
you can't just, it's not like a switch you can just flip on.
Yeah, it's going to take some time. And like I'm a big fan of Darwin Núñez. There's a lot of people on Twitter after the game saying flop, he's not going to do well. The guy's going to score goals. It's clear as day he's going to get 15 to 20 goals this year. Like, I have no doubt that he's
it could have gotten more if he didn't get a red card.
He could have gotten more because now he's out for 5 games. But, like, the guy's going to get goals. And his runs are on point. So, with Trent and everybody else getting back into the swing of things, he's going to get goals. From that game, I'm worried about, obviously, the injuries. We have Chamberlain out long term. Curtis Jones out long term. Thiago out long term. Firmino out long term. Jota out long term. Well, not long term. Firmino might be back for Manchester United. But all these guys are like key players.
Yep.
And now you're relying on Harvey Elliott,
James Milner.
Yeah. To be which James Milner is not a bad player. I think he actually had a really good game. He's one of the better midfielders in that game.
Yeah, but you don't want him on the field, really.
No.
When you have the players on the roster that you do.
Yeah. So that's the situation in Liverpool right now. We have like 10 guys injured, key players that are injured.
This is a problem for Liverpool. So Jurgen Klopp needs to figure out what's going on because this is happening year after year. And it's partly the fact that you just have guys who are, no matter which team they're on, they're going to Thiago.
Yeah.
You know, you're 50-50 chance that he's going to get injured during a game or in training or something. So I don't know.
Last year we were lucky. 2 years ago we were. When was it? 2 years ago we were now lucky because Van Dijk got hurt, and then like Nat Phillips and Reece Williams had to play like center backs.
Yeah,
you know. So and that net again, Konate. We have think about Liverpool center backs: Van Dijk, Konate, Matip, Joe Gomez, and then Nat Phillips. Van Dijk obviously has to play. Konate out, Matip out. Joe Gomez gets hurt the day before, so he's not 100%, so you can't start him. So that's why you have to be on the bench. You have to bring in Nat Phillips.
Yeah, you guys had a lot of changes this game.
Yeah.
A lot of changes.
Firmino's out. You have no options going forward. So there's a lot of injury problems. And I think that's once people start coming back, like I'm not worried. Like right now, there's a lot of people that are worried about
every week. You're not worried, George.
I'm not worried. I'm not worried until we get to game 8 or 9 and Liverpool 10 points behind Manchester City or whoever's in first. That's when I'll be like, okay, there's a problem. Until then, it's right now we're 4 points behind.
But here's the thing: that problem you can already identify early because of Manchester City. You know they're not going to drop points very often. So like you're like, maybe Manchester City will drop some points and we'll catch back up. But if you have this bad of a start and Manchester City, like clockwork, not dropping any points, showing how good they are, you think if you're this early. It could happen. Like I'm just saying, if Liverpool doesn't sort it out quickly, it could happen that Manchester City again, like that one season, just runs away with it.
All right. So, if you're Jurgen Klopp right now, how do you solve it? You have all these injuries. Do you go into the transfer market? So he went out in public and said, "Look, I have 8 midfielders. I have 8 of them that can be starting for most Premier League teams. If I go buy a midfielder right now, what do I solve?"
This is what you do. If you're Jurgen Klopp, first of all, you fire your medical team. Get out. Go home. Go somewhere else. You find like a private investigator, right? You find a private investigator or somebody who does really well at statistics, and you have them find whichever medical team or whichever Premier League team has had the least amount of injuries in a span of over, let's say, 5 years. And you hire that medical team.
We did hire a brand new medical assistant like 2 weeks ago or something like that.
Statistics don't lie. You get the best medical team and you say, okay, there's a reason why these guys aren't getting injured and my guys are getting injured.
But see, some of these injuries are now like...
No, I know. Again, some of these injuries are just, it's Thiago who's always going to get injured no matter where he's at. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
but
do you buy a midfielder or no?
Well, you can't because like you said, if they all start coming back, now you end up with 10 midfielders.
Yeah, so now
and they're all
So that's the problem that like it's easy for people on Twitter to be like, oh yeah, buy this. I want Liverpool to buy Jude Bellingham. I've said this many times. If Liverpool can get him this year, Liverpool are going to win the league.
All right, let's relax.
Liverpool are going to win the league
Liverpool
regardless.
have lost the league already,
No,
George.
they have not lost the league.
They've lost the league. Manchester City has essentially won the league in the first two games of the season.
Not even close. Not even close. Look,
I'll tell you what.
You'll see. Liverpool are going to come back. Everything's going to be fine. But I'm worried. I told you this. I sent you both interviews. Whatever happened in that week leading up to the game, Jurgen Klopp mentioned it. He said something. It was a terrible week.
So there was like a witch at the training ground or something in the facilities.
And then James Milner said, after the week we just had, this is
something
good
happened. Something pretty big happened.
Yeah. So, and Jurgen Klopp is usually like, even when the game, like when it doesn't go their Liverpool's way, and like he still smiles and like being sarcastic. His interview was just.
What do you think it is? Do you think it's like injuries that happened, or do you think it's like something off the pitch that happened to the team that?
The reason why I don't think it's something off the pitch to the team is because James Milner said the spirit is really high within the group. And Jurgen Klopp, before the season started, he said the spirits are high, like this is one of the best like chemistry, whatever. So I don't know if it's something players related that happened on the field, then maybe a fight or something. I don't think that's it. Injuries is most likely it, but you don't say that. You just come on and say, look, we had 3 or 4 guys just drop out this week. Like that's how you would have phrased it.
It's like he wanted to say that. He wanted to say like, "Hey, look, something's actually happened to us," but he didn't want to like give too many details and say that this is an excuse for us or whatever.
Then if only Jurgen Klopp would have said that, I'd be like, okay, whatever. But then James Milner comes down and says the same exact thing or similar. Something happened.
Something happened behind the scenes.
I don't like. Is it? It could be owners are not giving Liverpool money. That's not really behind the scenes though. That's not something that's like James Milner is going to talk about. So I don't know what it could be, but something was off, and I can just sense in like Jurgen Klopp's like pre-match conference the day before, he was just like not happy. He was just like whatever.
Regardless, Liverpool don't know what you got till it's gone. Your boy Sadio Mane.
Yeah, I mean,
do you tie those first 2 games with him on the field?
Yeah, you still tie.
George.
Look. This is the problem. Look,
George.
Luis Diaz.
Admit that guy is a huge loss.
No, huge. I told you before. I would have picked Salah to go over Mane. Mane was my guy, but something's off, and it's in the midfield. It's not Mane.
I think it's Mane. I think something could be off. Whatever it is.
Well, injuries. I
think you still win with Mane on the field.
No, I mean Luis Diaz. Look, Luis Diaz or Mane. What a goal! Let's talk about that goal. Oh my! Don't
talk. It's not like a Koulibaly goal.
Oh,
all right, let's relax. Okay, it's not like that. It's not like that counterattack. Did you see that counterattack goal on Manchester United?
Listen. Well, yeah, Luis Diaz goal is better than Koulibaly's goal. Luis Diaz on top of the box dribbles past 3-4 players.
Relax. He dribbled past like one guy,
but tight knit in and around those guys.
Took a couple fancy little touches to set himself up for a shot.
And scores.
Okay.
Koulibaly wide open inside the box. What was Spurs marking?
I mean, but come on.
There's no marking.
The slow, if you manage to capture a slow motion shot of that, it looks so nice.
I wish we could
out of the air, boom.
I wish we can put those 2 goals and compare.
You see a lot of goals like Luis Diaz's goal.
Well, yeah, you don't see the Koulibaly goal because everybody's defending. On the corner, nobody.
It was a good goal. It wasn't anything super special. It was like a moment of brilliance. It was a moment of brilliance from one of the players.
Goal of the week, easy.
No.
I'm intrigued now. I'm going to look it up.
Brentford's goal, the counterattack, was goal of the week. Yeah. Koulibaly would have been second place. Yeah. No. I mean, you could say Gabriel Jesus' goal was better than Luis Diaz's goal.
Gabriel Jesus wasn't.
I just named 3 goals off the top of my head were probably better than that goal. No. It was a good goal. Relax.
World
class.
It's
not that
Anyway,
great.
Luis Diaz, what a guy. That's what I got to say.
Relax.
First half, I wasn't... okay, back to the game. There's 2 things I wasn't happy. Something is off with Robertson. Like, he's not... He's not attacking.
With the excuses. I don't want these excuses, George.
He wasn't attacking. I'm talking about this game specifically. He wasn't attacking. And Luis Diaz, I have no idea why you have Nathaniel Klein on you and you're not going direct, attacking him one-on-one every single time. So those are the 2 things in the first half that I was like, whatever.
You guys need to sort it out.
I'm not worried. Players are going to come back. We'll
talk next week when you start getting a little more worried. Because
listen, Liverpool, Manchester United Monday. And Manchester United. Relegation battle.
This is where we're going to see if you're going to be really worried. Because if they draw against Manchester United, if they don't beat Manchester United, you're worried. You're very worried.
Depends. I don't know.
I will say this. Bold prediction. My take, unlike Georgio's, this is not my take.
Okay.
This is my take. Liverpool don't beat Manchester United, title gone. Title hopes gone.
Are Liverpool
this
still
early?
top 4?
This early.
If they
Oh,
lose
I
to-
don't. They'll probably they'll still be top 4. I'm just saying, at the end of the season, you're gonna look back and you're gonna be like, that bad
What?
start.
I mean, you can look at that any
I
game
don't-
at the season, but
This is a bold prediction though, because this is 3 games in, and I'm telling you that if they don't beat Manchester United, they're done.
okay. See, you're saying they're not gonna win the league.
Exactly.
Okay, but they're not done. They're not going to be out of the. Okay, this is what's going to happen. Liverpool, if they draw or lose that game, everybody's going to be like, "Oh my God, it's over. Liverpool's done." Then Liverpool somehow are going to come back, just like last year, with 14 points behind Manchester City. We're going to come back, and it's going to be a tight race somehow. Manchester
And who's
City
gonna win?
slip
And who's
games.
gonna win at the end? Manchester City.
I still.
Regardless if they slip a couple
Manchester
games.
City are finishing third, best. Manchester City are finishing third best. I told you this two
You
podcasts
have
ago.
lost it.
Manchester
2
City-
podcasts ago, and Manchester City have convincingly won their first 2 games of the season.
It's early on, early days,
That's what I'm saying. That's why I said it was a bold prediction.
early days.
I think kiss your title hopes goodbye if they don't beat Manchester United
It's 4 points. We're 4 points behind top.
right now.
There's only how many teams have 6 points? Man City and Arsenal. That's it. Yeah, third place. A few teams. have
Liverpool's
4.
in 12th.
It's not a big deal. at all.
Manchester United's in last
Listen,
place.
I told you I'm gonna be worried when it's 7 or 8 games in, and Liverpool are far off, and then I'll be like, okay, something's off.
I told you it was a bold prediction. You'll see. We'll see. We'll find out. That's why I've said if they don't beat Manchester United.
Now, but you're saying they're okay. There's a difference between they're out and they're not gonna win.
I'm saying they can kiss their title hopes goodbye.
So
if
you're
they
saying
don't
they're
beat-
not gonna win.
They're not going to win the Premier League.
But they can still be in it.
I mean,
if you're
they'll still
within-
be top 3 or whatever. Yeah, like I said.
But like you can still be like
But I'm
within the title, within like 3 to 5 points. You're
All
still
I'm
within
saying,
it.
all I'm saying, is that Manchester City will run away with it if Liverpool does not beat Manchester United
Okay, speaking of Manchester
or
City,
Arsenal.
come-
The way we're playing,
there-
the
I
way
mean,
we're
yeah,
playing.
it's early. We're like we have our predictions, but it's still very early, and the transfer window's still yet to close. So a lot can happen.
Yep.
But okay, I didn't watch the Manchester City game. Cyrus messaged me as I was watching. I decided to watch Arsenal Leicester.
Yeah.
Because more entertaining.
I had them on both screens, but I was checking in periodically. But it wasn't. It was literally the commentators. I was checking in. The commentators were like, "Oh, Manchester City's going to score at some point.
Yeah.
They're going to score at some point. Oh, they scored.
Yeah,
And they scored again.
Cyrus was like, Manchester City looked dangerous. Like this is
Yep.
they're putting on a show. That's fine. No, it is what it is. They won the game, easy. Now, Haaland. Do you know how many? I checked it after the game. I wanted to see how Haaland was doing because we have this comparison every week on podcast. The guy, from what I remember, he had 5 passes the whole entire game. 5 passes. He had 1 chance. That is something that okay.
What does it matter?
Back to my point. What I was saying. I don't know if those are the exact stats, by the way, but something of the sort. Maybe the game wasn't over when I looked at it, but that's exactly what I was talking about when I was saying when we were comparing Nunes to Haaland, which is a better signing for which team.
It doesn't matter.
It does because Haaland does now.
Who's got more goals?
1 goal more.
And who stayed on the field?
And
Who
Nunes,
stayed on the field?
Nunes played like. Do you know Nunes has played
It doesn't matter though.
like 70 minutes overall in the Premier League, and he
Listen.
has 1 goal, 1 assist.
When you can win 4-0, was it 4-0 that they won?
Yeah.
When you can win 4-0, it doesn't matter if your main striker only had 1 opportunity and only 5 passes. Because they're going to take that 4-0 win next
Yeah,
week.
yeah, of
next
course.
week. And this is a week-to-week thing. Because last week, how many goals did he score?
2
2
1
goals.
off a PK.
Doesn't matter. He scored 2 goals. Next week, he'll score 2 or 3. Or he might not score any, but then the week after that, he'll score 2 or 3.
Look, I'm not. What I was saying is we're comparing the individual players
Yeah.
and how they fit in at those teams better. At Liverpool, Nunes fits is a better fit than Haaland is at City. That was my whole entire point.
Not right now.
Yeah,
Clearly.
he is.
Well, he doesn't fit at all because he's banned for 3 or 4 games.
Okay, that's a red card. But
You also just said that now they've become one-dimensional thanks to Darwin
when he's
Núñez.
on the field. When he's on the field at the
So
moment.
how does that not translate to him not being
No.
as good of a fit as Erling Haaland?
Because he's still getting chances. I'm just annoyed at how Liverpool, when like there needs to be, and it will, and Jurgen Klopp is gonna figure it out. But what I'm trying to tell you is when My pick when we talked about this, Nunes is a better fit at Liverpool than Haaland is at City. Is Haaland still an amazing player? Of course he is. But the way Man City play, and I told you this last week, the way Man City play is pass, 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 pass. Is he still gonna get goals inside the box? Yes, he will. But he's the style. The second West Ham goal, when he played against West Ham, that's what
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
It does, though.
If you're telling me he's still going to get goals, that's literally the whole reason why you buy him. It's not about the style of play. Like, the style of play is gets you to the end product, which is the goals and the statistics.
What I'm saying, he's not going to be the best version of himself.
Doesn't matter because they're going to win the Premier League and they have a better chance of winning the Champions League.
Third place.
I'm going to see how long you keep up with this argument about him not being as good of a fit as Darwin Nunez, because I guarantee it's going to last 2-3 weeks max before you're like, okay, I'm going to have to change my position.
The only way I change my position is if Pep changes the way he plays, and Pep does not change the way he plays.
Because he wins, George.
Listen, give me $1 billion to spend on transfers in 5 years.
Don't give me that. Don't give me that.
Oh, come on, that's obvious.
Don't give me that. That's the game, though. You can't say that.
Nah.
That's the game.
You put Pep at Arsenal, no chance. No chance. You put Pep at, I don't know.
Pep doesn't need to go to Arsenal. Pep can stay at Manchester City.
Yeah, he can stay
Hypothetical situations. You put Klopp at Arsenal.
Klopp will do well. Klopp will do the same exact thing he did at Liverpool.
No, let's relax.
He would.
It doesn't matter because at the end of the day, those are hypothetical situations, and you're trying to like handicap Pep.
I am.
Of course, if you're a good coach, you're gonna want to be as successful as possible. And how do you do that? By getting the best players to fit the playing style that you want, which you feel is good enough or better than everybody else's, and you're gonna win.
Okay. Let's compare this. When you're talking about Liverpool, Manchester City, who has more pressure not to win?
Manchester City.
Manchester City. Because they're spending billions.
Of course.
When you look at Liverpool's net spend on transfers,
doesn't matter.
They spent $10 million this year.
Who cares what the pressure is? At the end of the year, people care about who wins.
Yeah, that's true.
And Manchester City wins more than Liverpool wins.
I mean, not Champions League, but yeah.
Okay, one Champions League, George.
Well, listen, we've got to 2 finals and 1-1.
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many finals you get to, George. That's the whole point.
No, it does matter.
That's what I'm telling you. Style of play, all that. Yes, does it matter? It matters in relation to what you get at the end of it, which is the results. You can have a fantastic style of play, and if you somehow, for whatever reason, can't beat teams, people are going to say you need to change that style of play. It doesn't matter if Haaland doesn't fit the style of play if at the end of the day, they're winning 4-0 with him on the field.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, if they're winning, that's fine. But I was purely speaking about the 2 individual players.
Still doesn't matter.
How they fit. Listen, my prediction stands. Manchester City finished 3rd.
Okay.
And that's it. That's the best they're going to finish is 3rd.
Yeah.
And then Liverpool win the league.
No.
And Nunes is
next week. That prediction done.
So, how many goals is Nunes scoring this year?
I think he'll score like 15.
15 goals?
15, 16, somewhere around there.
You don't think he's scoring more than
15, 16 puts him at like 4th, 5th place, somewhere around there?
Yeah, I mean, last year's Salah, I think Salah and his son,
they're like
21.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think Haaland gets what I say.
You said 30.
30.
I don't see Haaland getting 30.
All right, well, we'll find out.
Well, maybe
we will find out in the next episode.
Maybe if they get 10, 20 penalties.
Watch him score a hat trick next game.
Listen,
watch him score a hat trick next game.
Also, the referee, man, that's a
don't even say referee in regards to Liverpool.
Referees in Manchester City. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say.
We're gonna end the podcast because Georgie, as usual, per every single episode, he loses the plot, and it's not gonna be very long before you have to just like the referees, you're gonna have to put a public statement out there saying, "I'm sorry, I apologize, I got it wrong, I'm changing it."
Manchester City finishing 3rd, and Nunes comes back a lot better after his ban. How many games is he gonna get banned?
I don't know the rules officially, but violent conduct is like 3 or 4 games or something like that, right?
It better not be more than 5.
It shouldn't be. It wasn't that bad. They need to relax a little bit. Fake headbutts shouldn't be 5 games, all right? All right, we're going to end it there. Anything else you got, George?
I don't know. Liverpool, Man United, Monday. It's a big one.
We'll be back in the next episode.
Oh, wait. Who wins that game? Make your prediction right now. Liverpool, and it's at Old Trafford.
Draw.
Yeah,
there's going to be goals.
We don't have a striker.
Draw. Draw.
Yeah.
We'll find out who's right. What are your predictions?
Liverpool win.
How much?
It's gonna be close because it's just a derby.
1 or 2 goals.
1 or 2 goals, yeah.
Draw.
We don't have a striker, so I don't know who's gonna score.
Don't make excuses. You said Liverpool's gonna win.
Liverpool's gonna win. But we have 20 people injured, man.
Here we go. Excuses. This guy. We'll catch you guys in the next episode. Thank you for staying all the way till the end. Appreciate it.